In the last video, I showed putting the water slide decal on the lens face. So this is it after it's dried and cut and everything. Talked about how I always like to have it perfect. This is not perfect. This area around here, around the middle, doesn't matter. It's going to be covered with the alarm hand and nobody will see it. Same thing with around the edge here. It'll be covered, no one will see it. What's not perfect about this, in my eyes, is this little bit of white color here, which is not consistent with the rest of the clock face. But I'm thinking I'm going to go with this right now. I also talked about making the lens, the mirror effect paint, and how I do that. So this is what it looks like afterwards. I think I'm going to go with this one right here. So now it's time to rebuild the movement. And, you know, probably different guys will do it different ways, whatever. But this is where I start. So first thing is find this wheel right here. Looks like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in this hole that's underneath this copper piece here. So that's right there. And then hold it in there and take this piece right here and we're going to slide that underneath, and that gap right there is going to go around the post rather. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if you can see inside there or not, but so now the next step is to line up the hole in this bracket with this hole in the back plate, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this strange looking screw with the spring and hold the whole thing together by putting it through that hole. So what this is, by the way, is the mechanism for turning off the alarm. When it's all together, this will be sticking out the front of the case, and if you pull down on it, it will pull this back and these points will disconnect, breaking an electrical connection in the clock. So so once I got that going on, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the set gear shaft in. One thing I'm really bad about when I'm talking about the teardown is this little piece, which is the set gear shaft spacer. Okay, so we want to find this and put it on the set gear shaft, and then what we're going to do is put the set gear shaft down in this hole like that. Now the next part, what I usually do is I use the rotor to help me get things centered. We're going to put the minute hand sleeve and the hour hand sleeve on here. But what's tricky, at least the way that I put it together, is these two have to go underneath this piece right here. Okay, so that makes it tricky. What I like to do, because it's easier, everything gets lined up, is slip the rotor in behind it and use that to keep things lined up. So I've got an extra rotor here that's not connected to the coil, and I'm just going to use it to help me center it. But if I slip this in the back, then everything lines up the way it's supposed to, and I'll just hold that in the back, and it makes it a little bit easier to keep things in place, keep them from sliding around. The next thing going is this power indicator shaft that goes right there, and then the alarm set shaft goes right there, and then finally this piece right there, and those spline right there. And now with everything lined up, I'm going to take this weird triangular kind of front plate piece and I'm going to put it on here. This nub should be facing down onto this part of the clock. So I'm going to take it like this, put it in the center there, and then line it up. These three holes right there, you see the alarm set shaft sets in there. And now these screws that look like this. There's 3 of them. I'm going to attach this front plate using these screws. And once I do that, then everything should stay in place. I can withdraw the the rotor that I have in the back there, and you can use the rotor you're planning on using in the clock. It doesn't matter. And then the next step is, for me anyway, because it really doesn't matter the way you do this. You can do whatever. But there are these 2 screws in the back plate that make the connections for the light in the Electrolarm. And of course, I want to have a light in the Electrolarm. That's part of the big deal about the Electrolarm for me. So I've got to replace those screws. I took them out to clean them and to clean the back plate. So I've got to put those back. So those 2 are going to go right there and right there. And this top one isn't so bad to get in. But the bottom one is a little bit more tricky. So what I typically will do is I'll get some poster putty. This is, I mean, if I do it enough times without poster putty, eventually I'm going to get it. But poster putty can decrease the number of times I have to do it. So I put the poster putty on the end of the screwdriver and put the little screw on there. And this one is going in right here. So let's get that started. And I can take my poster putty off and make sure that that's not going to fall out. Now I'm ready to put the rotor and coil in. So what I want to do is make sure that my rotor, the gear on my rotor, splines with that gear right there. If it doesn't, that's going to cause a problem. I also have to make sure that my rotor, where it says top, is facing the top. And on this back plate, this big hole right here is the top. This is where the light bulb sticks through. So I'm going to make sure that that's facing the top, and then put it down in there. And if I have to move it back and forth, move it back and forth until it splines with that gear in there. And once I got that, I can take these big hunking screws and tighten down the rotor and coil assembly. And then in this stage, there's only one last thing that we need to do, and that is to add the indicator that indicates whether you're setting the alarm for the AM or the PM. And it's not something we got to figure out because it only goes on one way. So you might remember this guy when we took it off. There's a very little tiny set screw that holds it on the shaft. And so what we're going to do is find the flat spot on the alarm set shaft and attach it. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if I did this, if this is splined up correctly, I should be able to turn this and it should turn freely. Okay, and it does. So that means that I've got it set up correctly. If it binds, it means that something's not splined in there correctly, and you're going to have to figure that out before proceeding. But right here, I turned it, and that right there is the flat spot on the alarm set shaft. So I just find the set screw on the indicator, and I want to put the indicator on there until that screw is directly above the flat spot, and then tighten down the set screw so it doesn't go anywhere. So that is putting the movement back together again. And what we're going to do is the next time is we're going to put the movement onto the back case, and then put some electricity across the coil, put in a sweep hand, and see what we got. We'll determine if we've got a noisy rotor or some other problem. before we put the face and the hands back on and complete everything. So that's there. I was told to suggest, if you like the video, please put a like. I'm not doing this for money or anything or fame. I'm just doing it to help out the next guy trying to fix these clocks. So it's nice to know that there's a purpose in doing it. When somebody leaves a like, I know somebody got something out of it. All right, thanks.